everybody. Welcome to another edition of Ahead of the Curve. I'm David Thomas. This is Bo Gill.
Yes, sir.
We're here to talk about some local topics, some of the stuff that's going on, Bo.
Yeah.
I know one thing that we've already talked about several times on Shelbyville now is the red flag law.
Yes.
Since we've had a conversation, I had a conversation with Catherine Austin Fitz. We had a special broadcast for that. And I talked to Paul Engel about the constitutionality of a red flag law. But since then, there's been a date set for the special session, which will be August 21st.
August 21st. Governor Lee did announce that last week.
Okay, so we've got some time here, but at the same time, if you're a conservative and believe in the Second Amendment, I think it's time we start taking some serious action now that we've got a little time.
It is really time to take some serious action. And what do we mean by serious action? Well, that's contact your reps. Around here at State Rep Pat Marsh, Senator Shane Reeves, and Governor Bill Lee. We have to tell them exactly what is on our mind. And what is on our mind? Well, it's best to get informed about what is a red flag law. And to sum it all up, a red flag law is if someone points out to officials that you may be in danger of harming others or yourself, that they come in, potentially confiscate your guns for an indefinite amount of time.
Well, let's talk about that. That's a violation, 2 Constitution violations when you do that. First of all, Second Amendment, obviously, because you have the right to bear arms.
Right.
We're afforded that right by the Constitution. And then also, you get into the Fourth Amendment when it talks about the seizure of property without due process.
Right. And it's a guilty until proven innocent mindset.
Right.
And it is an infringement of our rights. It really is. And it's not where the attention should be focused. The attention should be focused in the mental disorders. There are ways that we can, I guess, tag or retag people, that have mental illnesses. There are laws on the books currently that will take care of that if they were done right. But the issue is mental health. And someone might go crazy that's never showed mental health either. So there's that factor too.
Well, I know mental health is a big issue in the topic that we're talking about, but I think when you get right down to it, Bo, it's a matter of evil versus good. It's pure evil.
It is.
We can blame it on mental illness all we want to, but a lot of this is about getting attention or just purely being mean. Just evil wanting to destroy something.
That's what a lot of it is, and that's what a lot of suicides and failed suicides have done, is for getting attention.
I think it's time for good people to take a stand against bad.
Right.
I think if society would do that, those people that are sitting back, you might be sitting at home, so I don't want to get involved. Well, at some point, and our country is getting closer to the point, it's time for good people to stand up and say no.
It's that time. That time has come here. And David, in my 30s, I sit back and I listen to people's political opinions. And I had my own, but just this fire kept burning inside of me year after year after year. And, what can I do? Well, nothing. I go back and forth. Well, finally, I decided to take a stand, to get involved somehow, some way. I was attending meetings. One thing led to another. But if you get involved just by being there, just by getting your voice out, they want to hear. I've talked to State Rep Marsh. He wants to hear from you. If you think he doesn't want to hear from you, then you're wrong, because he does want to hear from you. He's hearing a lot from both sides, but he needs to know his constituents and what our stance is. And our stance is, you are really penalizing law-abiding citizens. You're trying to make a law against evil when evil is going to always exist. And then with that law, you would take away our means of defending ourselves against that evil.
Well, you can't eliminate evil, but you can punish it.
You can punish it.
And there's a way to do it. There's 2 different ways. You can do it by prosecuting people and put them away, or whatever needs to be done with them. And I know a lot of people want to blame that on mental health, and there probably are some cases out there like that.
Yeah.
And then there's the other way. It's where the public does take a stand and say no more.
That's right.
Just no more.
We are a government.
We're going to take care of our kids. That's what this is about. We're going to protect our kids.
Yes,
that's what we'll do.
And it's time. In these days we live in, we have to. Unfortunately, we would love to be able to send them off without, but we have to have that stopgap. And is it a police officer in every school? Is it arming the teachers? Is it other? There are other ways we can use resources to help stop evil, because evil's going to come.
Right.
And it's how we handle this without trampling on our constitutional rights.
Well, that's the thing. I think there's so many people out there that are so lazy, they will give up some of their constitutional rights. Oh, yeah, just pass that. It'll be okay. Let me tell you what. We have had our rights chipped away long enough to where there's not many left. And if we don't stand up and say no more, stop it, and fight for our rights that the Constitution affords us, that promises us, they're going to be all gone. Most of them are gone and eroded now. It's my question to the people out there. If you're conservative and you believe in the Constitution, then there's only one decision to make about this red flag law, and that's to be against it completely. Okay, that doesn't mean we're insensitive to taking care of children. The opposite. There should be a plan in place demanded by the people to protect our children, and that means that we might have to get involved.
That's right. We do have to get involved, but it means the only way to defeat a man with a gun is a man with a gun.
A bigger gun.
A bad man with a gun is a good man with a gun.
That's right.
Or a bigger gun. And that has to be, without that, criminals and evil will be around. If you can't.
Let me ask you something. If there had been 6 grandfathers standing outside of this school in Nashville, and they all had shotguns, do you think that incident would have occurred?
No.
Do you think this person would have even pulled in the parking lot?
No.
Absolutely not. Now, I'm not suggesting we all stand out,
No.
but the step toward protecting our kids, the SROs in the schools, is a good start. And tighter security as far as doors locking and ways to get entry to a building, all those type of things. Security camera monitoring, not just have them, you got to have that. There's
Don't
so
use them
many
as
other,
evidence.
right.
Use them as active.
Exactly. Deterrence, okay? But there are ways to do this, and we don't have to bankrupt ourselves to do it.
No,
I guarantee
we
you there are volunteers out there that would stand up, especially ex-military, retired men that have skills, okay? They would take care of this if that was afforded to them. If that was given an opportunity, they would do it. Now, there's a lot of arguments that you can make about that. Okay. We can't have guns on schools. Well, if there had been guns in some of these schools, some of this stuff wouldn't have happened.
That's exactly right. And this again does not take away anything from events that have happened. And we're not trying to discount that, and we're not trying to discount not taking care of the children. It is the main goal, really, in this issue here. But it's not to penalize law-abiding citizens.
And we can't rely on our government to take care of us.
Yeah,
we got to take care of it. I think COVID proved that.
Yes.
When you've got a CDC that comes out and they don't recommend any treatment when people get sick, and they basically say, take your clothes off at the door, or wear a mask, or spray down with this, and if you get sick, we're going to wait till you get real bad and ram a respirator down your throat and kill you. That's the type of stuff the government comes up with.
They come up with that. Think for yourself.
Yes.
Think for yourself. Get answers in different places. And here's another thing. We've got a future generation of children that are growing up right now. Be a parent. Be a loving parent. Show these kids love, but show them responsibilities. Show them what crazy is. Don't let them guess. Be a parent. Take care of your children. Watch what they're looking at. You got to helicopter over them some. You don't have to be all the way, but they need accountability, especially if they're under 18. You need, me included, to be a better parent and to be more guarded against the way we raise our children.
I've always heard this. Well, he's lived a sheltered life. Well, right now, sheltered life will be a good thing happening.
It really
honestly, from what's going on in this world right now.
And it is happening more. There's more homeschooled.
So how can you be a voice? You can email your representatives. You can email your government. You can send a hard copy to them in the mail. You could also call their office and leave messages, but do it. Just do it. If you have to do it 50 times, do it. They want to hear from us. And another way, I'm going to put a poll up. We'll have another shovel nail poll talking about this red flag law. Whether you oppose it or you're for it, this poll will show where Bedford County stands. And that's who our representatives represent.
That's right.
Us.
That's right. And I've also got a letter that I've put out as official statement, and I would be glad to share that with anybody if they wanted to use it, any part of it, to send it. I would be glad to use it for you to use it as a template, just to make things easier. But just be in touch with them. I'm sure that we get their email addresses, or you can call them. You might not talk to them personally, but they need to know your opinion.
Yeah,
and they need to know it every day until this August 21st issue comes up. But need to hear from them all the time. I mean,
well, they heard from everybody every day till then. It wouldn't hurt anything.
It wouldn't.
All right, but anyway, that's a major thing for the state of Tennessee.
Yes.
And Bedford County. One other thing that's going on in Bedford County that's getting ready to start is the county budget's going to start being prepared for 2023, 2024. And in that, I know the packets have already been sent out to the commissioners. I know Eric Maddox has posted his. I don't know if they've got their entire budgets to look at yet, but there is talk of a potential increase of a lot. I'm hearing anywhere from 25 to 50 cents. Probably going to fall somewhere close to what we did last year or higher. If that's the case, we will be one of the highest tax counties in the state of Tennessee. Okay, does Bedford County feel like they can afford to keep paying tax increases every year to fund some of the stuff that's taking place? All right, now I know, Bo, we've talked about this. I'm against the tax increase until you can get your books in order and in the way they ought to be. And I know there's several people calling for audits, calling for examinations to look and see where we're at exactly. I don't know where all that stands, but I do know this: Bedford County cannot afford another property tax increase.
It's hard for me it's hard for anybody to afford another property increase with the inflation and the volatile gas prices and the higher interest rates, and then throw that on there. But yes, if that's their argument to have one, then let's see what we got. Miscellaneous needs to go away. Everything needs to be labeled, and if there's some way, there may not be much waste right now, but we need to know,
right?
And so that we can see what decisions, because it's a government of the people, right?
Okay, yeah. And here's the thing: I get that it costs a lot of money to operate county services, okay, for our citizens. And I know some people are irrational when it comes to what the county ought to do for them personally. There's only so much that government can do to help us.
Right.
And honestly, if we could just have peace, okay, law enforcement, law and order,
yes,
good roads, cleanliness, and know that we have emergency services. And then, of course, we have our school system that we fund partially, very, very small amount.
Those are
and that's our state. But if we just did that and everybody else got back out of the way, we get out of the real estate business. We stop blowing money trying to get big business to come in here. If we just took care of our town and county, and that gets to the city doing their thing too. If we just all work together and took pride in what we have here and do our very best to do those things with the means that we have to do them, those things will come to us.
Yes.
But it's
that takes a unified mentality,
right?
And everybody on the same page, no matter if you've got differences or personal differences or whatever, throw it all out the window, and this is what's best for Bedford County, and throw it all out, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Right. So if you have true representation, you're going to hear from your constituents.
Right.
Each commissioner will hear from their constituents of what they would like to see done.
Yes.
Okay. And that's healthy. That's the way it was made.
That's right.
That's the way.
It doesn't mean you're going to get, but it's good that you put your ideas out to them, and that's the way it was meant to be.
Right. The representatives represent the people. They bring in what they hear from their people. You sit down. Now, you might be able to have to say, well, guys, we can't afford to do all this.
That's right.
Okay.
And that's being responsible.
Okay. And you ever get to a point where you say, we can't afford this. But if you want to do it, you want to pay more taxes, then we'll figure it in. And then you have to ask the people. You just can't come in and go from an $18 million budget and in 4 or 5 years have it up to 33.
No,
with
little to no public input.
Right. Now, we should have some property tax growth from building and people moving into the area and hearing about how we've been flooded with people. Well, we should have an automatic growth built in there.
Yes.
And I think that's to be expected. You can raise up as you grow. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I know there's a lot of people have a lot of different thoughts on property tax or wheel tax or whatever tax. But for the most part, Bedford County is probably 75% conservative based on previous elections. most people do not believe in expanding government and increasing taxes in this county.
That's
So I'm anxious to see how this plays out, Bo, and I'm going to put another poll up asking people if they can go along with another property tax increase.
Yeah. Vote on that.
Yeah.
He's going to have that poll, and it helps representatives know.
Yeah.
What
I think
constituents
most county commissioners that really want to represent their people will listen to these polls because it gives them a picture of what the people are thinking.
That's right.
So
and hearing from them, like hearing, say, for example, Pat saying, "I want to hear from."
Yeah, that's good to hear.
That's good to hear. So, and he means it.
Right.
He means it.
Right.
So let them know that you're not bothering them. That's their job.
That's it. They want to hear from them. If they're a true representative, they want to hear from the public.
That's right.
Now, if they're not a true representative, they don't want to hear anything. They want to be left alone and put on in their own little corner, and that's not representation.
No, that's not.
That's something else, and I won't tell you what that is. But that's not how the country was founded.
No,
but anyway, both these two issues, the red flag law, affects us here locally in Bedford County.
Yes.
And the property tax increase obviously does. But those two things, big topics, big things happening. We want to stay on top of it. We want to let you guys know if we hear anything different or if anything comes about, we'll tell you about it. But please vote on the two polls that we're going to be putting up and share them with your friends. If you share this video and share those polls that we put out, we'll have more participation and get a truer picture of where this county
So
stands.
it's up to you. Share this.
Yes, share
You
it.
can do it.
Yes. And Bo, be sure and share it.
I will share it.
Okay, guys. Thanks for putting up with us for a few minutes. Thanks for watching. We'll be back real soon.